What it do, y'all? Man, we bike, man. The Inspired by Christopher show. Whether you're listening to this or you're watching and or both, appreciate you for being here, man. We bike, man. Consistency, consistency, consistency. That's what this is gonna be. The Inspired by Christopher show, man. Check this out, man. Um, if you're support me through Patreon. Check this out, man. $3 a month. Patreon. So what I'm gonna do is, I know I've said this in previous episodes, I was going to put out 6 episodes a month, but I have to wait till that makes more sense. Right now, it doesn't make sense to do that. So right now, I'm gonna continue to do one a week. If you listen to the free episodes, they'll be available on Sunday. If you want to support me through Patreon and get video exclusively through Patreon and get the audio, that is going to drop on, Thursdays or Fridays whenever I record that, and it'll be up. And that's going to be for my supporters. If you just rock with me, you appreciate the content because I work hard. I put effort into this. Support me through Patreon, $3 a month, man. And again, that video, the full video is going to be exclusively through Patreon. That's my show. That's the show aspect of this. That audio, which is the podcast, that's going to be available through Patreon. And then, if you don't want to pay for the Patreon, you can wait for it to come out on Apple, Amazon Music, Spotify, and all that on Sunday. That's when we drop it. But check it out, man. Say you don't want to go through Patreon and you just want to listen on, Apple and all that, but you still want to tighten me up. Hit me in the Cash App, man. $ inspired by Chris. $ inspired by Chris. Click the link tree and that'll take you there, man. And you can tighten me up. Put 100 on me. Or you can send me $3 a month, man, or just send me $30 for the year, and then next year send me another 30, man. We ain't tripping, man. But the goal is for independence, man. Like I said, I want to be able to take care of my daughter off of this, and I am, because this is my content. I believe in it, and I work hard. I would like to drop my daughter off at school, have the option to eat with her every day if I want to. I wouldn't do that because she needs to develop with her friends and all that. But I want that option. And then, come pick her up every day. I want to do that and make my money here. I don't know if y'all can hear her, but she crying in the background. She with her mama. But anywho, man, check this out, man. So support me via Patreon, man. We gonna keep this content coming, man. Check this out. It is still Mental Health Month. It is March, but I am mental health out, man. I done gave y'all 4 episodes on mental health, man. At the beginning of the month, I gave y'all How Is Your Mental Health that I had with Kathleen Killam and my boy J Sam Leadership, Jarvis Sam, man. You can check his podcast out. Go to jarvissam.com. Then the week after that, I gave you Black Men and Mental Health. That was me and Jarvis Sam recording again. Then the following week after that, I recorded with my player partner, Nija Rashid, and she gave me perspective on Black women and mental health, which was very enlightening. I think that was a pretty powerful episode. And then right after that, man, I gave y'all how to protect your mental health at work. That's important. You need to revisit that episode. If you haven't listened to it or watched it, you need to go watch it. It's up on my Patreon. The video is up on my Patreon. The audio is on iTunes or Apple Podcast and Amazon Music and all that, man, Spotify. But y'all go check that episode out, man. Cause y'all, hey man, we need that episode, man. But this is the last if you're listening to this on a Sunday or whatever, this is the last Sunday of May, excuse me. And I'm not finna give you another mental health episode. I'm sorry. I done gave y'all 4. I want to talk about something else, man. But today what I want to talk about is it's the title of this one, and I may change it, but right now I'm going with You Are Necessary, Strong Black Man. You are necessary, strong black man. Let me take a sip, man, because this episode is going to be important. Because black men, you need to know how necessary you are, or we are. Excuse me. Let me sip. Oh, I am still here. Yeah, boy, it's still here. Check this out, man. And for me to make this episode make sense, man, I have to talk about a particular student of mine, man. And I don't want to make this the weekly podcast, me talking about my kids, but I just want to make this make sense, man. I'm not going to say the young man's name because, we can't do that. But I just have to speak on this because it's kind of sad a little bit. But, man, we make choices and we got to live with our choices. Check this out, man. I got a young man that came to me, I want to say maybe a month ago, right? Years kind of, getting close to an end. Young man comes to my class and, we have a meeting to put him in that class because in a behavior room, you have to have, what they call a ARD meeting, IEP meeting, and paperwork has to be done to put him in that class. He didn't want to come to my class. It was like a big old intervention. It was kind of, interventions are tricky, man, because if you're not in, it's tricky for a couple reasons, man, because if you're not in position to receive multiple people coming at you, you're going to respond in a way that may not be considered healthy, or you're not gonna respond in a positive way. All right. Intervention. So you have this young man who's in my room, intervention, and everybody's telling him, hey, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this. And I'm just watching and I'm like, and I'm just listening. I'm like, man, maybe there's more. Like, why is he doing this? Because it's easy to tell somebody what they need to do, what they need to do, what they need to do, what they need to do. But tell them why they need to do it and try to figure out why they're in the situation that they're in. I mean, sometimes we have to get to the root of the problem, man. And later on, the kid walks out my room because he ain't want to hear that. No, he ain't want to hear all that. And, I go get him. And I ain't saying nothing the whole time. I'm just listening because I like to kind of listen and see what I'm getting into. I don't know this kid. So I walk out, go, I call his name. I'm like, hey, man, just talk to me for a second, man. What's happening, man? What's going on? And he's like, man, I don't like all them people coming at me that don't know that. And I'm like, I get it. Nobody likes people just coming at them unless you're in a position to receive that, man. And I tell him, hey, man, it's just me and you talking. Look, my class ain't that bad. I don't be messing with folk. You gonna come in there. We gonna do what we need to do, and we gonna go on about our business, man. It's gonna be all good. I'm not here to mess with you. I'm not here to make your life difficult, brother. It is the end of the year, and I'm trying to move on with my life. You hear me? So we could let's just make each other's life easy. Anyway, he ends up coming back in there, man, and we find out that this kid hasn't seen his mother in a year, and she could be in bad shape and possibly dying. I'm like, well, that'll make a child act out. Yeah, sounds about right. So while we're telling him what he needs to do, man ain't seen his mother in a year. I get it now. I get it. Anywho, so eventually he's put in my class, and for the first week or so he just didn't want to come in there. So and I work at a high school, so it gets to a point where it's a lot of, I'm not a big babying type of guy, especially when it comes to boys. We ain't doing that. I'm more of a, hey son, check it out, yo, I'm in your corner if you do this and we gonna rock out. But anywho, man, that whole week you had to kind of talk him into class and try to bribe him, and I'm not, But anywho, once he gets into the class, he kind of saw how it was. He was comfortable, and I'm a G. He saw how I was, and I ain't messing with nobody. I'm a dude. I got sauce. I'm me, man. It's all good, man. Look, let's just be all good. What happens in here stays in here. If we got issues that need to be handled, we handle them in here for the most part. And he began to like me, and I had to get on his behind a couple of times. Had to get on his behind a couple of times. But he begins to open up to me, and he tells me that, oh man, my brother, I'm living with my 27-year-old brother, and he's not the greatest example. He kind of a sucker a little bit. And I'm like, yeah, I can understand. Okay, so I see why he's giving his brother all these problems. And he's opening up to me because I'm a G, I'm a player. So you gonna talk to a player. But anywho, man, he eventually does something that's like the final straw for his brother. His brother's like, look, no more. You can't stay here no more. And the boy has a parole officer and all that, man. And I'm staying in contact with the parole officer. And to be honest with you, I'm staying more in contact with the parole officer than the brother. Because a G recognizes a G. And it was just something, about the brother. He cool, but let me talk to the parole officer. Anyway, I'm staying in contact with the parole officer. And it just gets to a point where the young man does something. I think he takes some money from the guy or something from his brother. And his brother's like, hey man, can you pat my brother down? I'm like, fam, nah, fam, I can't do that. This happened at the house. This ain't a school thing. I can't be patting that boy down for some money that has nothing to do with us. But anywho, it gets to a point where the brother's like, look, no more. I can't trust this kid. I don't even want him here. And, he lets, the authorities know, CPS and all that. And I find out, before I get back to that, man, I find out that the young man actually lives in his aunt lives in my neighborhood, man. And I stay in a pretty decent, my neighborhood is kind of high. Like she stays in my neighborhood. Like I be walking my daughter throughout the neighborhood, and she lives in one of them houses. And I thought to myself, man, the brother doesn't want him. Why can't he stay with the aunt? This would be a change of scenery. And he was like, look, my aunt don't want me. I'm like, my God, man, like what, man? So now that, okay, so you got the mother who's in the hospital. You have the aunt who doesn't want him. You have the brother who doesn't want him. Dang, we just gonna CPS though? Like that's what we doing. We gonna do the CPS? But anywho, it was a weird situation because he would get calls from his parole officer, and he would kind of, I could tell by his demeanor after getting off the phone that things might not be so good. And he'd be like, hey man, if I run away with this beat, and I'm like, whoa, fam, nah, we not running away. Like we gonna face this. We men. You did something you shouldn't have done. You just gotta face it, but you can recoup. That's where the hope lies, in the recoup. See, we gonna do things, and we gonna sometimes we just gonna do things that put ourselves in messed up situations or bad situations. But as long as we don't die or go to prison, we can recoup though. What your recoup game look like? So that I'm pushing recoup game to that boy, man. And it seems like he's getting it. All right, yeah. So it got to a point where he talked to his, parole officer or whatever, and his last day was, that day was his last day. And this was pretty recent. And he told me like, hey man, my options are CPS, going back to my brother's house, which my brother ain't gonna allow, and getting detained, and from there, doing whatever. I'm like, my God, man, okay, all right, you're not 18, so the good thing is this is happening before you're 18, so you could come back from this, and by the time you turn 18, maybe this won't be on your record, maybe it could be expunged, maybe you can move on or whatever. That same day, the bell rung. Now, keep in mind, my kids stay with me the whole day. So they looking at that room the whole day. When they got to go to the restroom, I walk them to the restroom. It's ridiculous. Who would want to stay? And we're all dudes. Who wants to stay? Of course, we're going to have issues when we're sitting the same four walls, looking at each other, you know, getting upset with each other. It's gonna be some issues. We're all dudes. But at 4 o'clock, we all go our separate ways. But on this particular day, man, 4 o'clock came, and I'm telling him, hey man, all right, man, it's time to go. Love you, blah, blah, blah. He's hanging around. He's hanging around. Now keep in mind, this kid did not want to come to my room at first. But now because I'm a G and you know I'm a man and he see how I give it up and it's all good. When it's time to go, he doesn't want to leave. He's like, hey man, can I walk with you? I'm like, yeah man, sure man, that's all good, man. You can walk with me. Walk with a player. Walk with me. And he's just prolonging things. And he's a funny kid, man. He's telling jokes and I'm just laughing. Oh, that boy funny. He has like the I don't know if y'all are familiar with what's that rapper's name, man? He's from California, but he has that sense of humor. It's not Vic Mensa. He's from Chicago. Anyway, I forget. But he has like this dry sense of humor and the jokes just keep coming. And that's funny to me because I have that same sense of humor, but my sense of humor is a little more goofy. His is just, and they just keep coming. And it's like a bipolar type comedy. You know, anyway. He's telling these jokes, man, and it's kind of sad because I'm looking at him knowing that this could be his last day, and then I'm reflecting on the people who don't want him, you know, and I'm like, man, I like this guy, man. This is a good dude. He just made a horrible decision, and now, like, CPS is the wave now for him. Anywho, that was the last day I seen him. The next day, he was supposed to go to court. I called his parole officer to say, hey, man, keep in touch with me. You know, I want to follow him. You know, if he goes to court, you know, and they put him somewhere, I want to come visit him. I want to make sure he still sees me because he needs to see me. He needs to see a real player in his life. He needs to see a real G in his life. Because what happens in these situations is, you know, you deal with these kids, you say you love them, you rock with them, and then after that, you know, once they graduate from your class or once you move on or once they move on, you just never see them again. You don't make an effort. But I'm like, nah, he needs to see a positive black man who's thorough, who makes things shake. I need to stay in his life. Let me know what's happening. His parole officer hits me and he's like, hey, man, this dude ran away. We ain't seen him. And I'm like, my God. This is where we at. It came down to this. And I say, hey, man, if there's any way that I can help, let me know. Because I'm willing to do more than the average person, but I still got to stay within my lane. And the parole officer asked me, you want to adopt him? And it was serious. It wasn't no LOL. It was you want to adopt him? And I had to think about it for a minute because if I didn't have, you know, children and, you know, a family at the house, I would consider it. But because I do, I can't. This kid makes decisions that would put my family's life in danger. And unfortunately, I can't allow those decisions to affect my family. So I had to decline. And, you know, it was sad because I thought about it and I'm like, man, if I was in a position to where like it was just me and I had no kids and none of that and I had a house, I would probably adopt 3 black boys and just be like, yo, this is us, you know. Now, you know, if we have some misunderstandings, we're going to have some misunderstandings, but I'm going to show y'all the right way and put y'all on the right path to where you ain't got to grow up and be no sucker. You could grow up and be a G because that's what the strong black male influence will do for you. And that's what I'm here to provide. Yeah, I pray that he shows up and he's found and he makes the right decision. But I mean, what can I really do, man? I'm just a G. Like, I'm just a strong black man. Like, I don't live in his household. See, what happens is, as teachers, and again, I'm going to move on to something else, but check this out. What happens is, excuse me, we only get these kids for 8 hours a day. But, we can give them all the game in the world, try to lift them up, big them up, show them the right way. But they go home to these broken environments, and what we give them isn't often reinforced, man. So you got to think about it, man. We give them the game for 8 hours or however long it may be. And I'm talking about the good the people who actually care. We give them something to, more than just whatever's on your curriculum. I'm gonna give you this little extra that can help you, in life. And I'm a black man, so I'm telling you what to prepare for, man. Like that boy Jay said, man. Like I told you, sell drugs. No, Hov did that, so hopefully you won't have to go through that. I'm showing you the pitfalls and showing you, hey, man, you don't want to go that route because this is on the other side of that. Hey, we're the same person, man. Whatever your fears are, what you're facing, I'm facing the same thing, man. I'm you, you're me. I look just like you. Same skin tone, fam. We on the same team. I am not your enemy. That's what I have to give them, man. But man, I pray that, man. But think about it. So we give them the game, and then they go home. On their way home, they're tempted. They're with friends that have nothing, for them. And then a lot of them go home to broken homes. So as some of us are fighting some difficult battles. Now, some of us are built for it and we up for it, but we're fighting difficult battles, man. I'm giving this kid all the game in the world. Hey, how to move, how to, hey, I'm a player. You can be a player too. You ain't got to move like that, man. We can move like this. You can still be the man though. But he on his way home, he's talking to friends that don't have his best interests. And he's going home, dealing with people who don't even want him around. But check this out, man. I told y'all, man, I'm moving on to a different school. And I didn't tell my students because I was being strategic with that because I knew that a lot of them wouldn't take it well. So I finally told my students, man, and one of the young black men who utilizes me, he didn't take it well. His mama didn't take it well. I got some kids in person and some kids, online or whatever, and he's online and his mama got in the computer. She was like, wait a minute, Miss Robson, I heard you leave. Are you serious? And she's like, oh man, I knew this was happening, blah, blah, blah. I felt it. My son needs you. I was praying you wouldn't leave. And then she just went into this whole rant and I had to let her cook. Cause as a black woman, I felt her. I can't say I understood her because I'm not a black woman, but I felt her. She's a single black woman raising this son. Her son sees a man that he can kind of, get some game from, get some good energy, get some gems from, and kind of mold himself after. And he's moving on. And she's like, oh God, what I'm gonna do? Cause man, when I'm talking about strong black men, yeah, a lot of us we not just growing on trees like that, man. We rare. And this is what I'm talking about today, man. I'm talking about you are necessary, strong black man. Then the boy was texting me like, hey man, I don't want you to leave, man. I need you to be here. I need you to do. And I'm telling him, hey man, you got my number. You have access to me. Because see, the good thing about him and what I encourage a lot of our black mothers to teach their boys and just their boys in general, when you see a young black man that's a player young man and he handle his business, he know how to maneuver, he's a G, he's respectful. Soak all the game from him that you can. You need that. You want to be that. Because I'm going to be honest with you, man. Check this out. What I'm about to say, it might sound a little goofy, but you have to open your mind and think about it. For a lot of young black men, a strong black man, us player black men, we are the closest thing to LeBron that they gonna get. We are the closest thing to the late great Kobe that they gonna get. We are the closest thing to Jordan that they gonna get. We are the closest thing to Jay-Z, to Puff, to whomever that they gonna get. Nah, we not rich, we not balling like that, but they have steady access to these figures that's, you know, that's player that know how to move. We, you know, we may not be rappers, we may not be ball players, but we do our thing where we are though. And they need that. They need something they can visualize, man. Cause see, when you have something modeled in front of you, you know, when you're a young black man trying to figure things out, you know, and you got a young black man and you got an older black man that's a player that's seasoned and he know how to move and maneuver and he ain't no sucker and he's a G. You want to imitate that. You want to emulate that. And you have his number? You have access to him? See, we didn't have access to Jay-Z like that. I love Puff. I never had access to Puff. I love Jay. I never had access to LeBron and all of them. Well, I'm older than LeBron, but y'all know what I'm saying. But these young kids, these young black men that want to do what we do, the players, the G's, the non-suckers, they have access to us. So I encourage black women to push their kids to take advantage of that access. You know? That's what I want to talk about before we get out of here, man. The qualities. What are the qualities of a solid black man? What does he have, man? A solid black man has integrity. He stands for something. Money isn't going to move him. Like I don't know if I told y'all in this, man, but when I turned down 3 jobs, man. When I made my decision, money wasn't the deciding factor. See, I'm not moved by money. I'm a strong, solid black man. The money gonna find me. I'm gonna come into money. If ever I fall off, the money's coming. I'm never tripping on money. Because see, what happens with people who trip on money, when they're consumed by money, they'll do crazy things for money. You'll put your morals in jeopardy for money. You'll put your beliefs in jeopardy for money. So a strong, solid black man, we not moved by money, man. You not finna have us looking crazy for no money. Cause we know how to get the money. So you offering me a check does nothing for me. Cause I'm gonna get that check either way. Cause I'm such a solid black man. I'm not even thinking about me when it comes to money. I'm not thinking about me. I drive an old 2004 truck. My mission is for my daughter to be great. I'm trying to elevate my daughter and put her in a position to where money isn't a factor, so that when she gets older and she's looking good and she's doing a thing, a young man that approaches her has to come with more than money. Nah, baby, she don't need that money because daddy took care of the money. You got to come with something solid. You got to really love her. You got to really show her something different. What's your plan, young man? You gotta come with a plan with her. Like she gonna be one of them young ladies that know her value, cause she got a strong black man. And that's what another thing I want to say before I get up out of here, man. I saw this video, man. I saw this video clip that was on the Breakfast Club, man. This ex-football player was on there, and he said something along the lines of his mental health was in jeopardy. I told you I ain't gonna make this a mental health episode, but I just want to speak on this part. His mental health was in jeopardy because he didn't have the acknowledgement of his father. I want to say that to say, strong black men, you are necessary, you are important. And I'm only talking to the ones who have integrity. I'm only talking to the ones who stand for something. I'm only talking to the ones who are not moved by money. Because see, we're not just fathers to our children, you know, but we're fathers to these other young black boys that want to be us. We're OGs to them. And we got to show them a way, man. We got to be great examples to them. Bruh, when I deal with young black men, man, I'm not handling myself like, you know, I don't want to say inappropriately, but I'm not sagging, cursing, and doing all that, doing all that other stuff. Nah, I'm a G. They gonna get that from the radio. They gonna get that from the TV. They gonna get all that other foolishness from somewhere else. They need to see something different. They need to see that's another way. Hey, I have to show them that, hey man, you can make it without just hooping and playing ball and, you know, rapping. It's other ways of getting it. It's other ways of being fly. I don't have to sell you no dope. I don't have to destroy you. I can lift you up and be fly. And I could be in my own lane. I ain't got to try to be like you. I ain't got to try to dress like you. I ain't got to try to look like you. Nah, that's for y'all. I'm a OG. I'm supposed to look different. I'm not supposed to look like y'all. Yeah, I'm supposed to be the graduation of where you're at. It's levels to this thing, man. It's levels to this thing. We're OGs. These young boys are here. We're here. We're trying to bring them here. We're not trying to come down to them. What's the point? What's the point of that? But y'all know what it is, man. I had to let y'all know that you are necessary, strong black man. You are needed. Whatever field you're in, just your presence. Your presence is important. Just you don't even have to say a word, man. Just your presence of you just being there, just being your art, just being a statue, just for a young man to see. Oh, I could be like that. He a G, he a player, he a strong black man. I ain't gotta sell my soul. But that's all I wanted to leave y'all with, man. Inspired by Christopher Show. You get this audio, you get this video, man. Patreon. Man, support me, man. $3 a month, man. If you want to hit this Cash App, $ inspired by Chris, man. And y'all know what it is, man. I'm about that content. I'm about that content. This content coming.